One of the consistent traits that I see about top sales performers is that they are so habit-based. They have a consistent set of habits that they follow over and over and over again. And what they're doing is they're using their habits to keep them on track, to always be moving forward. So that way every day is productive. Every day is moving that ball closer to exactly where they want it to be. And so in this video, I'm going to show you the 9 habits of the most successful salespeople. Check it out. Number 1, worry about what you can control. This is so big. Top performers are really good at focusing only on what they can control, right? You hear from average or bottom performers all the time, oh, the economy's down, or that prospect they're so difficult, they never got back to me. Our products are just not where we need them to be, or our operations are falling apart, right? Whatever it is, right? Instead, top performers are really good at focusing and worrying about only what they can control. And what you can control as a salesperson tends to focus only on the sales. It focuses on the activity, it focuses on what you're saying, it focuses on who you're getting in front of, but those are the things that you can control. So focus on them and not all of the other stuff. That's the top performing mindset, is just never worried about all of the other stuff that's outside of their control. Number 2, only do things that make you money. This is, I would argue, one of the single biggest differences between top performers and the hordes of everyone else, is that top performers are only doing things that make them money. They're not focused on all of the operations. They're not doing tons of paperwork. They're not spending all of their time entering stuff into the CRM. Instead, they're just doing the things that make them money. And what makes you money? Getting in front of prospects, spending time in front of prospects, spending time with clients, putting together proposals, only the real sales-related activities. Everything else they're trying to get as far away from as possible. So in terms of starting to implement this top-performing mindset yourself, only do things that make you money. And so next time a distraction comes along, think to yourself, is this making me money or not? And if it's not making you money, don't do it. And if it is going to make you money, do it more and more consistently. Number 3, focus on the pipe, not sales. This is really a huge distinction that I think very few people fully grasp, which is that we can control what our pipeline looks like today. We cannot control what today's sales are. So top performers are really good at constantly adding opportunities into their pipeline. They're constantly focused on how can I get more and more opportunities into the pipeline. But they're not quite as worried about what their sales number is today. Now, of course, they want to be closing sales and they want to be making sure that they're closing those meetings and doing all the things that they have to do. But ultimately, the key focus is on the pipeline, is on making sure they're adding opportunities into their world. So that way, if you're in a 6-month sales process or sales cycle, for example, what you're adding into your pipeline today is not going to turn into sales for about 6 months. So understanding that the focus is always adding more opportunities into the top and bringing them through the pipeline, and not worried about, hey, what were my sales numbers this week, or what were they last week? Instead, it's what am I actually doing today to make sure that I'm going to be closing sales down the road. Number 4, be willing to lose it all. This is a real difference between, and it's not just sales, right? This is top performers versus the average person in general. Is that top performers are willing to take risks. They're willing to lose opportunities. They're willing to lose, but by being willing to lose, they're also able to win so much more. And so you think of the best athletes, right? They're taking the greatest risks. Same thing with sales. If you are willing to lose an opportunity, you have so much more strength when you're face to face with that prospect. Every time I have a meeting that, let's say, I'm a little nervous for, the one thing I think of is, you know what? If this doesn't work out, so what? Who cares? Obviously, I want it to work out, but I don't need it to work out. I'm willing to lose it all. And quite frankly, I say the same thing about that with my business or with anything, right? If my business fell apart tomorrow, I already know that the day after, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing in order to rebuild. I'm willing to lose it all because I know that it doesn't matter. I can always get it back. I can always bring it back. And it takes so much stress out of both my day-to-day life and the interactions that I have with prospects. Same thing. Be willing to lose it all. Number 5, get face-to-face constantly. This is really an idea that is, I think, losing steam in today's marketplace with technologies like Zoom or WebEx or GoToMeeting. Now, of course, you are face-to-face in a video, which are much better than phone calls. The data is very clear on that. If you can get someone on a Zoom meeting or on a WebEx, it's better than a phone call. But you know what's better than a Zoom or a WebEx is actually meeting someone face-to-face, eyeball to eyeball, live and in person. Top performers are so much more consistent about getting face-to-face with their prospects. They're spending time on site. They're getting to know these people. They're really positioning themselves to become a truly trusted advisor. So if you have an opportunity that you've deemed as qualified, get face-to-face. Use your Sky Miles. Get on the flight. Get to see them. Use your car. Get in front of people. The more you are spending face-to-face time, eyeball to eyeball time with your prospects, the more money you will make. Number 6, understand them better. The best salespeople know their prospects and clients better than anyone else. This is such a key distinction. Most salespeople, as soon as they've identified a problem or a challenge that their prospect has, they immediately jump to the solution. They say, oh, well, we've got the solution. We've got that figured out. We've got you covered. Instead, a top performing rep is so much better at really understanding their prospect, understanding what drives them, why they even care about solving that problem in the first place. The better reps are so much better at going deep, both with prospects and with clients, to really understand them in a way that no one else does. And once you get to that point of truly understanding your prospects on a level that your competitors don't, you own those relationships. They can't leave you because it's not just about price at this point, right? It's now you are the person that is truly the trusted advisor that understands their world better than anyone else. And once you get to that level, you are untouchable. So really take the time in your conversations to understand your prospects. Get to know them on a level that no one else does. Number 7, leverage relationships. Many years ago, I had the opportunity to have dinner with the founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman. And one of the things that he said was the core principle of LinkedIn was that he wants people to be able to leverage relationships to grow their business. That idea has always stuck with me. And that's one of the reasons that I use this idea of having an introduction strategy. Leverage your existing relationships to create more relationships. It's crazy how few salespeople really leverage their existing relationships. And not just your network, not someone who you have a LinkedIn connection with but you don't really know. I'm talking about leverage the relationships that you really have. Your clients, your vendors, your suppliers, people that are in your business network that you really know. Leverage those relationships to develop more. Get introductions to other folks that you might be able to help. It's unbelievable to me how many salespeople are willing to instead make cold calls instead of just leveraging their existing relationships. Because the close rate on a well set up introduction is 50 times that of a cold call, more like 100 times that. So leverage your relationships. Think about who in my world, maybe it's clients, who could be introducing me to other folks and ultimately making them really look good. Because if you're good at what you do, you are making the people around you look good simply by introducing you to other folks. That is how you leverage your relationships. Number 8, constantly get feedback. Top performers are so good at consistently making any interaction a two-way dialogue, bringing people into a conversation. And anytime they're talking, and let's say they're presenting something, even after they present something, they rope the prospect back in to get feedback with a little question like, does that make sense? Or do you see what I'm saying there? And what the data shows is that top performers are so much more consistent at getting feedback from their prospects. And as a result, even in situations where it's kind of a monologue situation where it's, let's say there's a presentation phase of the sale, they're still making it a two-way dialogue. And what you're doing by getting that kind of feedback is twofold. One is, of course, you're keeping them engaged. So they're talking and they're a part of the conversation, which is just a lot more engaging and interesting. But you're also getting real feedback. Because if you present something and the prospect says, oh, actually, you know, that doesn't really make sense for this conversation so much. I'm really more concerned about this. Now you're getting that feedback and you're incorporating that into what you're going to say next. It might mean that you literally skipped the next few slides or the next few ideas that you were going to present, and instead you focus on what they care about. Top performers are so much better at constantly getting feedback, and the data shows that by getting that feedback throughout, particularly the presentation phase, but throughout the entire conversation, you're so much more likely to ultimately close that sale. Number 9, follow a plan. One of the cool things about my work is that I get to have a lot of conversations with top performing salespeople. A lot, in a huge range of industries. I had a conversation just the other day with a top performer, and I said, what would you say is really the key to being successful in your industry? And he said, it's all about following a plan. He said, all the other reps at this company, they don't have a plan. They're just kind of doing stuff and they're throwing things at the wall and they're seeing what sticks. He said, what I do is I make sure that I have a plan and I follow it. When I was first hired here, I put together an entire business plan of how I was going to grow my territory. And that's exactly what he's executed on. And that idea I see over and over and over again with top performers, is top performers are really good at coming up with exactly what is the strategy for my territory, or how am I going to grow my book of business? And then they execute on the plan. So it's not just something that they like write up and then it collects dust and they never think about it again, but instead it's right in front of them. They know these are the top 50 opportunities in my territory, and this is my plan for going after each and every one of them. Follow the plan, create it, and then follow it. That is going to help set you apart from the hordes of other people. So there are the 9 habits of the most successful salespeople. And if you enjoyed this video, then I have an awesome free training on the data-driven approach to help you crush your sales goals. Just click right here to get registered instantly. Seriously, just click right here. This is an in-depth training that will help you close more sales at higher prices, all while generating more meetings. Also, if you got some value, please like this video below on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking my face right about here to get access to a new video just like this one each week.